Okay, now I'm going to show you how we're going to, this is the other foot that I have, or foot and leg that I have together. And you can see, if you've watched my other videos, you know that I use the blanket stitch a lot to sew pieces together. I tend to use very small stitches. Again, my work is very small as well. Most of my stitches are about 2 millimeters apart, and about 2 millimeters long. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form telling you that you have to do it this way. But then again, remember, this is my channel, my video, and I'm showing you how I put stuff together. Now, remember, the reason I've done this is going to help you turn the leg inside out, because the leg is going to look like this when we're done. So let's get this started. So I have a leg together. Now, if you have decided to make a longer leg, you may need to grab a pin and just pop it in. If you're, especially if you're using wool, this wool felt will kind of grab on to the other side. It has kind of a tooth to it. However, sometimes with acrylic felts, they'll slip a little bit. If it's the higher the acrylic content or viscose content, because sometimes you can get viscose felt, which is basically just a fancy way of saying it's bamboo. Those will slip and slide a little bit, and you may need pins to hold these in place. Now, if you watched any of my previous videos about the, let's see, the kitten, the dollar horse, any of the Valentine pieces that I've made and put videos up here on Patreon, you know how I hold my fabric together. So we're just going to start the blanket stitch. It's going to go all the way around. So what I'm going to do, and you can see, I do this thing where I use my thumb and my first 3 fingers. Pinky just comes on all along for a ride. I think Pinky's more ballast. And as I've continued to work, I've noticed, you notice you just start to do things for certain reasons, or you notice that you have a certain idiosyncrasy. I've been using that word a lot lately. I apologize. This finger lets me know how deep the stitch is going to be. So is it going to be 2 millimeters, 1 millimeter, or more? So I've got a strand, 2 strands doubled up on one needle. I do that because the blanket stitch can get a little confusing, and I don't like the tail ends flapping around. They sometimes get knotted. They'll fray and start knotting and getting caught in things, and I don't like that. So this part's going to be inside the doll anyway. I'm just going to, and I'm working with a really long thread. I get really angry when I have to stop and add another thread. I probably shouldn't have done that for this particular one, but that, you know, here we are. I'm going to go through twice here to make sure this is anchored nicely. And again, remember, no one's going to see this. You know, no one ever has to see this. If you never want to show this to anybody, you don't have to show it to anybody. So here we go. I'm going to start in here. It's weird. I have to see it here, and then I have to look at it as I'm working on it. So here I am. I'm using this finger back here, tells me I've got it positioned. I'm always putting this needle right here to try to get the most even stitch going through. Now, you're going to continue this all the way around the foot. And that means you're going to go around this right here, this foot part right here. Now I want to pause this for a second, because I want to get down to about here, and then I want to show you why I do this, because it's muy importante. Okay, now you can see I've sewn on the foot side all the way around here. I hope I paused that. think I paused it. Sorry, I have a video going on in the background. I'm a huge fan of MST3K and riff tracks, and that's usually what I have playing in the background, if it's not a murder show. So anyway, let's go back here. I've stitched with the foot facing on the foot side around to about here. Now what you're going to do, because we have to turn this whole thing inside out in the next step, the easiest way to get this started, put my finger in here, is I start it now. Now, that seems kind of strange, but it's actually a really good idea. Now, I have my stuffing stick here. I remember this stuffing stick is just a chopstick. It's a chopstick that a friend gave me. And I stuff it to the point where it kind of looks like that. And then I can continue sewing all the way up here, knot it off, hide the ends, and clip it. Now, I'm going to set that aside because I've already got this one going. What I'm going to do, and I've tried this on a couple of different things, because you need to have something that you can easily get into the hole here, but you don't want it to be too thick, or you can use anything that you can get in there. I wanted to use these Mala markers, and they work pretty well. Because what you have to do is you're basically just kind of pushing and kind of trying to turn it, because you've got to push it past this little piece right here. So if you've already got this started, I sometimes will sew up to here and then push it in a little bit more to try to clear this little heel part. So once I've got it begun, and the Mala marker really just doesn't work as well as the chopstick, the thick end of the chopstick. Then what I do is I hold on to one end, and I kind of start, there we go. And you can see it finally pops through. Okay, now, what you can do is, if you just have the chopstick or a stick of some sort, you want to come through and kind of push this, and you can see that instead of there being two things that are sewn together with the seam on one side, it's now pulled more so that there is the felt is more butted, the edges are butted up against each other. Can you kind of see that? I will also use a bone folder to do this, because it's curved on one side, and I can kind of push and pull until I can see the stitches. Now, I tend to use a different color because I just like bright things. I like this. Orange is my favorite color, and I like this sunny yellow. And I think these look good together. Now, if you want to, you don't have to do it that way. Use one that's the same color. Although I don't think that 444 matches. That's too acidic looking. So that's what the leg looks like once I've turned everything inside out. Now, when you're working on the arms, it's the same thing. You start stitching here, you go all the way around about here, then you start that pushing in just a little bit, just enough to get the end of that chopstick in, and then you can turn it completely inside out. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show you how, I'm going to show you again how to do that part, plus the ears are different but similar in a way, I think. They're different because they've got a smaller opening here and a wider amount that needs to come through. So in the next video, I'm going to show you again how to do all of this, the turning inside out, plus how to put the little pebbles inside.